Introduce yourself as you step to the mic, please.
All right, good morning, everyone. First, thank you for attending our Nuclear Summit press briefing. I am joined here today by Jim Murray, Special Agent in charge of the United States Secret Service, Washington Field Office, Director Leif Dornsjo, District Department of Transportation, Director Chris Geldhart, Homeland Security Emergency Management Agency, Mr. Dan Stressel of the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority, Chief Ronald Pavlik of the Metro Transit Police Department, and the Deputy Mayor Kevin Donahue of Public Safety from Washington, D.C. The 2016 Nuclear Security Summit is scheduled to be held in Washington, D.C. Activities will start on Wednesday the 30th and continue through Saturday, April the 2nd. We want to urge citizens who travel through the District of Columbia and who reside here in Washington, D.C. To plan for some alternative routes for transportation around the Washington Convention Center, and to expect intermittent closures throughout the city in terms of motorcades that are going to be moving to various events throughout the city. In terms of street closures, there will be street closures, pedestrian limitations, there'll be parking restrictions in conjunction with this event. The main hub of these restrictions will occur between 6th and 10th Street, New York Avenue to O Street, which is basically the perimeter around the Washington Convention Center. Again, there will be intermittent street closures at several intersections and around some hotels as it pertains to motorcades and VIP countries that will be moving through the city. Street closures can be found on the Metropolitan Police Department's website at mpdc.gov and on our Twitter page as well. Street closures will also be listed on the United States Secret Service's website as well. There will be residential and metered parking restrictions around the convention center. Businesses inside of the security fencing area around the convention center will be impacted in regards to this perimeter. The United States Secret Service, in conjunction with the Metropolitan Police Department, have held several town hall meetings with the businesses, residents, the Business Improvement District representation in regards to the perimeter, the security closures, and the steps that will have to be taken to traverse that area. In terms of transportation, the Yellow Line and Green Line trains will not stop at the Convention Center during the duration of the Nuclear Summit. No other Metro stops will be affected by the Nuclear Summit. Metro bus stops at 7th and 9th Streets Northwest between N and K Northwest will be diverted around this perimeter that I just described. Residents and businesses, again, will have limited access in this area. We expect heavy foot traffic around that location. It is a busy part of the city on a normal day. We would urge pedestrians and citizens in the city to be mindful and make alternative plans around these restrictions. In terms of security, the Metropolitan Police Department has been on heightened alert since the Paris attacks. We have implemented enhanced security measures throughout the city in regards to the Brussels attack as well. We will continue that posture for the foreseeable future. We will be monitoring threat streams in terms of the nuclear summit. I would like to say that there are no credible threats or specific threats directed toward the city or that event at this time. We will be monitoring that with our federal partners. And at this point, I would like to open the floor for questions and allow my partners to speak as well.
Tom Sherwood with Channel 4. Both the field analysis report from the Threat Analysis Center and the Joint Threat Assessment for this event says there is no credible direct threat. But what would happen if there were one? I mean, you're already saying residents, would they be allowed to get to their homes under the normal course of the next few days through Saturday? Or will they just be, at times, they won't be able to get to their homes?
The Secret Service representation is here, and I would actually like for them to address that issue.
All right, so thank you very much. If you could say your name again so we all have it.
Good morning. My name is Jim Murray. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the Secret Service's Washington Field Office.
Are you recommending that the businesses within the enclosure area, I know of some that are just going to take days off. Are you recommending that businesses
We are not, sir. This nuclear summit is actually the fourth nuclear summit. The first one took place right here in Washington, D.C. back in 2010. There was another one in 2012 in Seoul, South Korea. The most recent one was in the Netherlands. One of the first things that the Secret Service and our partners at MPD and the rest of the group here did was take a look at the after-action report from the 2010 event. And one of the things we realized is we could do a better job in the area of community outreach. So to that end, in January of this year, we started holding town hall meetings and briefings with property managers, business groups, and residents. In answer to your question, no one will be prevented to getting to their residence or their place of business. They will likely have to go through certain levels of screening to get there.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
In terms of security, just overall security, as it pertains to this particular event, is there anything you're doing different here in light of Lahore and Brussels most recently?
Well, yes, there is. We do have enhanced deployments. I can't get into the specifics of those deployments, but we do have more officers working in key areas on the street, being visible. We are encouraging, of course, the public to, if they see any suspicious activity, to report that activity to us as well. We are constantly being briefed by our federal partners in regards to any type of threat stream that is being noticed.
And are there 12-hour shifts?
Yes,
And they've started, or they will start?
they will start.
For pedestrians moving?
Could you state your name and
I'm sorry, Kate Ryan, WTOP.
Thank you.
Thank you. In terms of pedestrians moving through, are there going to be issues with carrying backpacks or bags or any large packages?
In terms of the secure perimeter, as the special agent stated, that's going to be a serious screening process to enter that area. In terms of just normal citizens walking and traversing through the city, it will be like a normal day.
I'm sorry, I have another question. I apologize. I read the threat assessment, so I'm all geared here. The threat assessment says that the event itself, the convention center itself, is not the issue. But it's the lone offenders, the homegrown violent extremists, the things that could occur outside the event itself. You're going to have 50-plus motorcades zooming around town, some with police escorts, I presume. How much trouble is that going to be for people trying to get around the city? It's not just this location,
right,
but all around the city, and the hotels where many of these dignitaries are staying.
Well, as I stated earlier, there will be intermittent closures involved with certain motorcades that'll be moving through the cities. There'll be an enhanced police presence throughout the city. The police department is fully deployed, so you will see a lot of police presence during and around this event.
Brian, Channel 7. Dan or Lee, if you guys could address, a lot of times when we have road closures, we advise people to take Metro. We're going to have stops that are closed and other stops we're asking them to take instead. What are we going to do in terms of moving that amount of people that are not going to be on the roads, getting onto the rails, and having some of those stops closed?
Blake? I'm sorry.
Sure, Brian. So sure, I'm Dan Stessel with Metro. As the chief mentioned, there will be one impact on Metro Rail, and that is the Mount Vernon Square station, which falls within the secure perimeter at the convention center. So that station will close at 8 p.m. on Wednesday and remain closed until late Friday when the secure perimeter is broken down. So for 2 days, Mount Vernon Square station will be closed to the public. Trains will be able to pass through the station without stopping, so Green Line service will be unaffected if you're a Green Line rider. Yellow Line trains that normally begin and end their trip at Mount Vernon Square will instead begin and end to the public at Gallery Place. That's the only expected impact to the Metro rail system. Metro bus is a whole different story because we'll be affected with the same traffic and road closures as other motorists. In fact, there are about 15 Metro bus routes that'll have detours, and one corridor in particular that'll be very significantly affected. That's the 70 and the 79 bus route. It's top 2, top 3 busiest corridor in the city, and the 70, 79 buses will actually end their trip at Rhode Island Avenue. They normally come all the way into downtown. So at that point, bus customers at Rhode Island Avenue will need to transfer at Shaw Station to Metro Rail, and you'll be able to do that free of charge. Our bus operators will have a free transfer available for those customers. But really, a good piece of advice for anyone who takes Metro bus into or out of downtown, if you have the option of taking Metro Rail in or out and then reconnecting with your bus, that's a good option. So for example, if you normally take the S line down 16th Street, what you may want to do on starting on Thursday and also on Friday is taking the Green Line to Columbia Heights and then reconnecting with the S line farther up on 16th Street.
Is there anything you guys will be doing in terms of platform crowding, things like that? I mean, Gallery Place is already very busy, adding all of those customers into there.
That's right, and Metro Transit Police will be upstaffed for this event. They will have coverage at the key transfer stations to monitor for crowding, and it'll be something we'll be keeping a close eye on over the 2-day period. We have complete details on our website on all of these, the bus detours and also Mount Vernon Square's closure, right on the homepage of WMATA.com. Okay.
Again, in security, will riders expect to have their bags checked at any point? Is that something that's going to happen in this incident or as a result, again, of what we're seeing abroad?
Yeah, so random explosive screening is something that Metro Transit Police do routinely. I don't know if the chief wants to say a few words about it, but that's part of our toolbox as part of the multi-layered approach to security that we take on the system. I expect that you'll see that during this event, just as you would on any other day, but that doesn't really delay anyone's trip. Where you want to add additional travel time is if you're a bus customer on any route that comes anywhere near downtown DC. Yes.
Yeah, Rachel Cruzius, DCs. Considering all the upstaffing, can you guys talk a little bit about the cost estimates for having the security summit in DC, and then who's going to be bearing those costs?
Well, on the Metro side, we have moved around some of our resources to provide for Metro Transit Police overtime, not only in response to the nuclear summit, but also the attack in Brussels. We've been on extended shifts for that. So there isn't really a dollar figure yet known for that, but it is something that we're able to absorb within our existing budget. And I defer to the chief regarding MPD and other questions for the city.
Is this a specific Homeland Security event which makes you eligible for federal funds?
Yes. Yes.
So the entire cost to you is covered by those federal funds?
Well, don't quote me saying that there's the entire cost, but there is a proportion of that is reimbursable because it's a national special security event.
Is
Yes.
there a percentage formula normally that applies, or?
Yeah. Yeah. Director Gellhart, elaborate on that part.
Chris Geldard, Director of DC's Homeland Security Emergency Management Agency. We do have an appropriation that we received to do security events and emergency planning. Some of the costs that will be incurred for this National Special Security event will be covered underneath that, but not all. There'll be some costs borne by some of the agencies that don't fit within the parameters of going into that. So some of those costs will be absorbed by the city. The city agencies know these things are happening. We have national special security events here a lot, so we do a lot of planning for that. So some of the agencies will be absorbing some of the costs, and others will be able to use the appropriation.
Director Gildart, while you're there, could you reassert what Mr. Chief Green said, that there's no specific credible threat, that this is what the severe nature of this is for these next few days?
Sure, Tom, and you've read the report clearly because you quoted it a few times. We have no specific credible threat to the security of Washington, D.C. right now. That does not mean that we are not paying attention to the things that are happening in the world and taking appropriate precautions and putting extra things in place that we need to. I think the chief and Chief Lanier, they look at this every day. They're putting things out there where we need to put them. On our end, we're assisting in that with the WRTEC, our Washington Regional Threat Analysis Center, and ensuring that we're reaching out to all our partners with the Metropolitan Police Department and our federal partners as well, and ensuring that any information anybody has on anything that may happen here in the district, we know about it.
And you're asking for patience from the public?
Yes, sir, especially around this event. There's going to be, it will be a pretty tough traffic day on Thursday for the evening commute especially, and then Friday again, both morning and evening commutes. So we are asking for folks' patience and plan ahead now at what you may do to reduce this impact on yourself.
All right, time for probably one more question.
Jessica Gresco with AP. Can you talk about, for people who have maybe not been in the city all that long, or those who have, a comparison this event and other previous events, what they might expect? Is this 2 days worth of the inauguration? Is it less than that? Where does this fall?
Well, I don't think it falls on the level of an inauguration just because of the venue and the perimeter size. So they would expect to see delays around the convention center versus an inaugural or parade, which would cut off an entire avenue, for example, which would have much more impact on normal day-to-day traffic. There will be impacts, and again, we're encouraging people to plan for those, but they're going to be centralized around the convention center with intermittent delays because of the motorcades. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.